Hello, ladies, for your feminine. I am so excited to chat with you tonight because there's a lot of misinformation out there and it might be keeping you stuck in your love life. So, are you noticing that you want to transform? You want to attract higher quality partners. You want to enjoy the dating process. You want to finally get into a loving relationship that really lasts and goes the distance, but maybe you're feeling overwhelmed. And overwhelm can be paralyzing. If we have too much information, we can feel so overwhelmed that we kind of short circuit. There's this emotional guidance, this emotional spiral that you may have seen through the law of attraction, which maps out our different emotions. But when we start to feel overwhelmed, we can either move upwards and go into a higher vibration emotion like love, or we can really easily go downward into frustration or fear or panic or anger or all of these things. Now, I think all emotion is super valuable and helpful. We need it, just like my battery. We need it as part of life because it gives us fuel, but we don't want to stay stuck there. And the biggest problem that I see with all the different books out there about dating and all of that is, don't get me wrong, it's cool information, but it's not enough to change your life. And here's why. Because oftentimes what a book tells us is just going to reinforce what we already think about ourselves or the world. So we have what we call, cognitive bias. That means that our brain is looking to reinforce what it already knows. So most of the time the brain is looking for safety, and safety means familiarity. And familiarity means that we already know that information. So if you're reading a book and you're maybe only seeing the pieces of it that you already know or that confirm your bias. I think it's also called confirmatory bias. Maybe I said that wrong earlier, but you get what I'm saying. And I know what that's like because I stayed stuck in that loop for a really long time where I would read a book and then I would try to implement it and it would backfire. Either the guy would not ask me out again, or the date went horribly, or I felt kind of desperate, or I felt like I wasn't very authentic, or I felt like I had to be a bitch, that book like Why Men Marry Bitches, or Calling in the One, or all of those things. None of those worked for me. I read like every book under the sun, and it had useful information at times, but it was just information and not transformation. Now, if a book were enough to just totally change your life and get everything taken care of, the world would have way more millionaires, and there would never be divorce, and everyone would be super healthy, but that's not how the world works, because most of us need more guidance. Most of us, even if we've already read a ton of different books, can either get stuck in kind of like a spin cycle of trying to implement a bunch of different things and it's not congruent, or we can forget about things like our heart and our body, and we can get so into just reading the book and trying to figure it out that we go into overanalyzing mode. And if we go into overanalyzing mode, we're probably not being very present with ourselves or with our potential partner. And we're probably kicking up a lot of old emotional baggage when we're overanalyzing that I'm wrong, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough. Like, those stories can really get triggered when we're just living in our mind and we're just analyzing. So am I saying to never read a book? No, but what I am saying is to be cautious about the information that you take in and make sure that it's combined with hands-on support and feedback. Because like I was saying, if we have this confirmatory bias, we can't see our own blind spots, right? Like, how many times have you learned something about yourself and you're like, oh my God, I've been doing that my whole life? Or your friend, says something to piss you off and you realize, oh, it's because that's related to something within me. Life is mirroring us when we're going out and about through our day and throughout our relationships. So there are many ways to see our blind spots, but I don't personally believe that books are the best way. I think that we can jump into our transformation so much faster with a good mentor or coach, or through noticing our relationships and our environment and our connection to God, our connection to spirit and source. So I want to save you a lot of time. I don't want you to feel like you have to read every book under the sun or spend years and years trying to figure this out, because we're past that. We're past the information age and we are in the transformation age. And that, I think, is super exciting because it means any part of your life can transform rapidly. Think about our parents. Like, they may not have had access to therapy or coaches or healers, or, I'm pretty much guaranteed that they didn't have access to those things. And if they did, they might not have had the opportunity to even use those, or there might have been a lot of social stigma about those sort of things. We live in like a candy store right now for healing, for transformation, for growth. And I think it's our opportunity as Western women to take advantage of that and to heal not only ourselves, but our family lineage forwards and backwards. And one of the best ways to do that is to be surrounded by other powerful women and to have someone who can help you along the way. So you're not just reading a bunch of things but not sure how to implement it. So imagine if you didn't have to read a book about dating again. Imagine if you could get the support that you needed and not second guess yourself and not overanalyze. Imagine what it would be like to go on a date and then for the next few days afterwards have zero stress because you knew that he was going to be getting back in touch with you and you knew how much you offered and you knew exactly not only what you brought to the table, but your own inherent value or your own inherent sovereignty. And imagine knowing that that was just one of many different high quality men who wanted to date you. So you have an abundance mindset around men and you have these transformational tools and everything can happen really fast. I've had clients that were single for 8 years before they started working with me and they were engaged within 6 months. And that's no joke. And it's happening all the time with other clients too. Sometimes they meet their partner 2 weeks into my program. Sometimes they meet their partner 2 months after the program. But I know that anyone working with me will absolutely find lasting love. And I'm committed to my clients as long as it takes. They always have my email and they can always text me at any time. And I know that sounds crazy, but I have really good boundaries, so it's okay, I can handle it. And I'm totally devoted to love. I really think this is the most exciting time ever to be on the planet creating conscious relationships. And that's what I think is going to change the world. So if you want to join that global revolution of love, if you're ready to transform, ready to get off of the information overload and the overwhelm and all those scary places that can take you, then definitely set up a call with us at violetlang.com/talk. Book your free Breakthrough to Love session. Now these go really fast. We only have, I think, 3 or 4 left for the rest of the week, maybe even fewer, because we have about 50 women every week reaching out to us wanting one of these free calls. And during that call, you're going to get tons of clarity and value on what's keeping you from love, on what you really want, on what your massive vision for your life is, love, and all the things that love will get you. And if we feel like it's a fit, we may invite you into the program, but we may not. It just depends, and we have a lot of women that are reaching out to want to work with us. So you can go to violetlang.com/talk, and either way, you're going to get a lot of value and clarity and have some fun in those calls. So book your call. We're looking forward to connecting with you. And again, step out of the information craziness and step into transformation so you can have what you want sooner rather than later because your guy is waiting for you. Mwah! Talk to you soon.